Foundation Nation, y'all rock with me. Y'all gonna rock with me. Y'all always rock with me. Listen, go to the Mile High Minute and check it out. Check it out. My partner got a good podcast. Every chance you get, go over there and check it out, man.
Mile High Minute, #1 podcast in the universe. Today we with a special legend all the way from LA, man. Cartoon53, what's the word?
Oh, what's up, homie? What's up, homie? You know, glad to be here with you.
Hell yeah, man. I appreciate you for coming on the show. Let's get right into it. So originally, this is our first interview, so I want to get into your backstory a little bit. So you're originally from LA?
Yeah, born and raised.
On the east side?
On that east side, homie.
Okay. What was life like growing up in school?
Oh, shoot. You know, school was straight from from first grade, you know, all the way up to junior high school.
Yeah.
No problem. But, you know, at the end of junior high school, you know, that's when my jail career started. So, you know,
Yeah.
after that, wasn't no high school on the streets, at least. Wasn't number jail jumping off then.
Okay. And I was watching some of your other interviews. You said that like you didn't really have a relationship with your dad up until you got, I think you were like 13.
Yeah,
right?
man. I didn't know nothing about him. You know what I'm saying? But you know, a bunch of lies he used to try to tell me, would tell my moms, and you know, she wasn't going for it. I wasn't going for it. So I really didn't know him till I got about, like I say, 13.
Yeah.
Mom found out I was gang banging, and she couldn't do nothing with me. She couldn't stop me. So she called herself gonna send me to him.
Right.
So that's when I first really met him. You know.
Mm.
So, you know, but that didn't work out too well.
Yeah. And in that interview, they said that you got dropped off in like Inglewood, right?
Yeah, Pop stayed in Inglewood.
Yeah. What was life like over there? You were only over there for a couple months, right?
Yeah, about 4 months at the most, man. What it was, okay, during, you know, Inglewood is, you know, anybody that's familiar with, you know, LA,
Right.
you know, they know Inglewood is a predominantly blood area, you know what I'm saying? And I'm a Crip. So when Mom first took me over there to stay with him, you know, he old fashioned. He didn't understand the concept of I'm not safe over here.
Right.
I can't be over here. You know what I'm saying? Can't go to school over here. Can't run around and play up and down the streets over here. None of that. He didn't understand it.
Right.
So as time went on, it eventually came to a head, you know, because I couldn't stay.
Right. Also, I also want to shout him out too. I think it was Street TV, right?
Yeah,
Since I'm
I did
learning.
an interview with Alex Alonso, Street TV.
Yeah, shout them out. I don't want to, you know, give them their credit where this information is coming from. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so in that interview, you're also talking about how like you tried poisoning your dad.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, that part. He, you know, I idolized my older cousin,
Mhm.
and my older cousin told me that you know, a man don't wash no dishes. So
Yeah.
I come up under that concept that a man don't wash no dishes. So his wife told me one day to wash the dishes. Now,
Right.
you know, I wasn't gonna do it. And he popped me in the head with a broom. It wasn't hard, didn't hurt. It was just, you know, the straw part that caught my attention, but still,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? I wasn't with it. I already didn't like him. You know what I'm saying? I already didn't want to be over here. And then when he did that, tried to make me wash some dishes, I'm like, no. So, you know, in my mind, I was like, okay, you put your hands on me, I'm gonna show you. So I tried to poison him. I put some lighter fluid in his whiskey, thought he was gonna drink it and pass out.
Yeah.
And I was gonna just run off.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen that way.
Right. Now, do you ever like regret that, or is it just like that's
No,
how it happened?
well, to
Do
be
you have any
honest with you,
regrets?
no, I don't regret it. You know, the only thing I regret is that he died without me telling him I forgive him. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah.
So other than that, but now all what we went through, that's the only thing we really went through. Them little 3-4 months of that little drama. Other
Okay.
than that, I was never around him. Didn't really know him. When I first seen him, I didn't even know who he was.
Okay. Fair enough. So after those couple months, you went and lived back with your mom, or what? What
Now,
ended up
yeah, I'm gonna
happening?
stay back with moms again.
Okay. What was life like growing up after that point?
Shoot, the same thing. You know what I'm saying? I was caught up in that gang world. So,
Yeah.
you know, moms couldn't do nothing with me. So, you know, she did like a lot of black mothers did in a single family household at that time. She just threw her hands up and gave it to God, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's all she could really do with me.
Okay. And you said, what was this like middle school, high school age around then?
Yeah. Like in the 7th grade.
Okay. So you basically jumped off the porch middle school pretty early.
Yeah, I jumped off the porch at like about 12 years old.
Okay. Now, I feel like this is a first time for me. I feel like, so I kind of want to get like a deep perspective on like the LA, the gang stuff, like back in those days, you know what I'm saying, where it kind of originated from. So
Mhm.
what was like I guess your introduction into like gang banging and stuff like that?
When I was young, I had an older cousin,
Mm-hmm.
and he was from Compton, and
Yeah.
he introduced me to it. When he would come around, and I idolized him because when he would come around, he was big, he was fast, charismatic. All the girls liked him, all the dudes were scared of him.
Yeah.
So when he came around, it was like I was the king again. And so he used to always tell me as a little kid, "Well, when you grow up, you're gonna be a Crip. When you grow up, you're gonna be a Crip." And I didn't know what no Crip was. I didn't know what he was talking about, but
Yeah.
because of the admiration I had for him, all I knew in my heart and in my mind and in my soul, I was going to be a Crip because my cousin said I was going to be one.
Right.
So when I got old enough and realized what a Crip was and was able to get out in the streets and become one, I took to it like a fish to water.
Okay. So what was like the origination of Crips and Bloods in LA? Because I feel like it had a different meaning back in the day when it first started to where it is now.
See what it was when it started. Crips came out in 1969.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? At that time, the Black Panthers was just leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Raymond Washington, the originator of Crip,
Right.
he came up with it, another organization for us, Black youth to join and be a part of.
Yes.
And what it turned out to be, it wasn't originally supposed to go that route, but it went that route within the first few months or a year of its inception. But within a year, that's when the Blood started coming out. And the way banging was in the 1960s and 70s and early 80s, it's not that way now. You'll find nowadays in the 2000s, Crips and Bloods rub elbows and get along.
Right.
And Crip is Crip worst enemy. I mean, it is what it is. You know, you got the majority of Crips will go out their way to kill another Crip before they would to try to do harm to another Blood. It just came out that way. It is what it is. So
right. Okay. I was actually going to ask that later on too, but it seemed like from your other interviews, it wasn't, y'all weren't trying to have like Crip on Crip violence and Crip on Crip issues, but it almost kind of turned into that due to allies and stuff like that.
Yeah. Like my set, I'm from East Side Avalon.
Yeah.
And we was like probably some of the last Crips to participate in the Crip on Crip violence. And we was known throughout South Central LA. The Avalons, they don't beef with other Crips. But like I say, you get caught up in that drama due to your allies. Okay, we cool with these Crips, and these Crips, but these Crips and these Crips and these Crips don't get along with those Crips.
Right.
So, it's you guilty by association, because when those Crips get at these Crips, because we hang with these Crips, those Crips gonna get at us too. And so, when you get at us, we gonna get at you back. Next thing you know, we at war with Crips too.
Right. Okay. Is there like a way, have you ever seen like situations where like Crip on Crip violence was solved, like peace treaties, people coming together? Like,
yeah, you had a lot of that. You had a lot of wars that started, then, people, squashed them in the end. It's hit or miss.
yeah.
It's hit or miss. Sometimes you got older heads, cooler heads that can prevail. Sometimes you got them the young lokes that don't want to hear it. They ain't going for it.
Right.
No matter what the OGs say, them youngsters, when they go off and in their cars and going on about their business, they gonna do whatever they want to do. And so now it's to the point now, it's so messed up now. The whole thing is so messed up now to where there's ain't no rules and regulations no more. The youngsters don't like the old school heads no more. And homies beef with homies more than they beef with their so-called enemies. It's to the point now when you bring a gun to the set, you're not bringing it to the set to protect you from your hereditary enemies 2-3 blocks over. You bringing a gun to the set because you got beef with your old homeboys with the same tattoos as you now.
Right.
So it's just all messed up.
What do you think's like the root to a lot of those beefs inside like sets and stuff like that? Do you think it's just has to do with girls maybe, or just money? Yeah. Who knows?
Money, girls, pride, the way people have changed. Dudes coming up in LA now, they not built the same way they were in the 60s and 70s and 80s. They not built that way. They got these little touchy feelings, you know what I'm saying? The mothers, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The mothers are different. We come up in single parent households too, but our mothers were tougher. Our mothers from in my generation raised their sons to be tougher. Whereas these funny bunny women nowadays that's, raising these boys up, you got a mama, your auntie live in the house, your grandmama, you got 4, 5 sisters, you ain't got no brothers. You know what I'm saying? So you come up with the same emotions and feelings as these women. So now when you do happen to get out in the streets and you get socked in the head or pushed around or fired on or talked about, you react in a weird way because you got these funny bunny emotions in you, these
Okay.
female emotions.
Damn, that's real. I never really thought about it like that. So do you feel like it's kind of, is it just as hard or maybe easier to squash beef with like blood sets than it would be Crip sets?
From what I see, since I've been out of prison, yeah.
Really?
Like I
Damn.
say,
Yeah.
Crips will jump over 3-4 different blood sets to go get at they enemy Crip set. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And my hood the same way. You know what I'm saying? My hood the same way. We get along with the Peblos and we will ignore the villains, but let us see a faux tray. We'll knock his head clean off his body if we catch him the right way.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
Right. Okay. What do you think is like the root cause to the lack of infrastructure nowadays compared to, 30, 40 years ago?
There's no structure no more. Older homies like me and older, you know what I'm saying? They gone on about their business. Whereas when I was coming up, my older homies, they was hands on with us. You know what I'm saying? They guided us. They shaped and molded us, told us what to do and what not to do, how to do it and how not to do it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But my older homies, their minds was straight because the dope hadn't hit the way it hit in later years.
Okay.
Whereas now in these generations that's coming up now, they don't have the right guidance because the older homies, they not telling the youngsters the right thing.
Right.
Them youngsters out there really like young wolves raising themselves. They learning on their own by trial and error. And they don't trust the older homies because the older homies trying to use them,
Right.
trying to work them, trying to, beat them and cheat them out of something. So they don't want nothing to do with the older homies anymore. They just don't trust them.
Right.
So now it's just like, kill or be killed.
Right.
Each your own.
Okay. As an OG, how do you kind of lead people in the right or positive direction? You know what I'm saying? Within.
Well, I'm gonna tell you like I tell a lot of people on my podcast. Like I say, I'm a Crip.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna deny that.
Right. Okay.
That's a choice I made for my life. But now, as far as youngsters that's coming up nowadays, I don't advocate them to join a gang. I don't advocate them to become a part of it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because it's no longer what it used to be. But if they so choose to make that choice and do that,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? The only thing I can tell them, man, be real with it. Be real with it.
If you're gonna do
that's
it,
what
you
you're
gotta
gonna
do
do,
it.
you're gonna do it the right way.
Okay.
But which is hard to say do it the right way because there's no one left to tell them the right way.
Right. Okay.
Like I say, that the guidance is no longer there. But young homies from my side, when they call me, because I'm from South Central LA, but I live in Alabama now.
Right. Okay.
So but I'm back and forth a lot. But my young homies, when they get at me and they ask me something, I give it to them in a row. That I've always been that way. Even when before I went to the pen this last trip, I didn't have my young homeboys go do nothing that I wasn't willing to go do with them or before them. So, they respected me for that because they know I wasn't sending them on no mission to go crash out, but I wasn't willing to go with them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We doing drive-bys. I'm driving or I'm shooting in the car with them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I wasn't with that. You and you. Y'all go bust on such and such, but I'm in the park kicking back. You know what I'm saying? While they throwing rocks at the prison. No, if I'm gonna tell them to go throw rocks at the prison, I'm gonna go throw rocks at the prison right with them. And they respected me for that.
That's real. Okay. That makes sense. Now, how do you, this might be kind of like a random question, but like, do you compare maybe what's going on in the streets to what the US may be doing like with other countries going to war, if that makes sense?
To tell you the truth, no.
No? Okay.
No. The streets and what the government got going on a whole different level. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The government got more on their plate right now dealing with North Korea, China, and Russia.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The damage that they've already did, they damage to us. They already know they got us on a self-destructive path. So they ain't got to do nothing just, okay, we done messed them up. So we can focus on something else now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is.
So do you think the government could be potentially behind like a lot of the shit that's going on in the streets to this day?
The government is behind a whole lot of what's going on in the streets. I mean, like I say, I don't believe the government is as hands-on with the drama in the streets now as they were in the 60s and the 70s.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They put the guns in the streets. They put the dope in the streets. Now you put guns in the street of South Central LA and you put dope in the streets of South Central LA. Who gonna do it?
Right.
There are no whites in South Central LA.
Yeah.
It's nothing but blacks and Hispanics, mostly Hispanics now, but still a lot of blacks. So if you put the guns in the streets, who gonna pick them up? We gonna pick them up. If you put the dope in the streets, who gonna smoke it or sell it? We gonna smoke it or sell it.
Right.
So they know what they're doing and they did what they did, you know?
So there's a huge root cause of this that you feel like people may not see, you know what I'm saying? Just looking at, I don't know, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, I feel there's a lot of these assumptions, especially from like rich white people from the suburbs, wherever, like, oh, he's bad, he does this, blah, blah. But like people look at things without even really getting to read the book. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They just judge y'all. They judge, oh, these are bad people, blah, blah, whatever. But they don't actually look at the root cause of all this. You know what I'm saying? So that's more or less what I'm trying to get at. And you basically,
let me show you something. I'm all over the place.
Yeah.
When it comes to the PC now, for instance, like, okay, I'm not an advocate of affirmative action. I've never been. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I feel we don't need your help.
Right. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? We got the same chance. A lot of people say, well, we don't have the same chances as them.
Mm.
The schools I went to when I was in elementary school were good schools. The school I went to when I was in junior high was a good school. The high schools that we have in LA were good schools. And it's a lot of people that I grew up with. They chose not to become a part of the gang activity and they chose to do something different and they made it out.
And they grew up in the same.
And they grew up in the same environment as me.
Okay.
So I'm never going to be, oh, poor, the white man did this, the white man did that. Bump that.
Okay.
Yeah, of course the white man had certain aspects of damage they did to us, but we do it ourselves still, especially now that we're conscious and we know what's going on, but we still perpetrate the things over and over and over that we keep doing.
Okay.
We keep doing it over and over and over. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like CRABs in a bucket. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's just like, we hate to see somebody else with our same skin color make it and we not making it.
Yeah.
And you know, then they want to cry about it. They want to cry about it.
That's real.
So, you know, hey, it is what it is.
I respect that. You know what I'm saying? It's looking at it from all angles. I get it. Okay. So I want to get back more into your story as well. So did you end up graduating from school or no, you basically straight into jail?
I graduated and went to college.
Oh, okay.
But I did it in jail.
Okay.
You know, I wasn't on the street for it. I graduated high school in jail and I took, you know, I got an A degree in jail.
Associates?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What were you studying?
U.S. history and world history.
Okay. That's interesting. So that probably even helped you to get an even better understanding
Love it.
of a lot of stuff. Okay.
You know your past, you can if you know your past well enough, a lot of times you can predict your future.
Right. What made you want to study history while in jail?
I've always, you know, history, what went on before me have always been a big passion of mine. I always wanted to know.
Okay.
Always want to know who did this, who did that, why did they do it, when did they do it, where did they do it, who did they do it to, are they gonna do it again? You know,
right?
I just be wanting to know.
That's interesting. When was the first time you got locked up, and like what was it for?
The first time I went to jail, I think I was 12 or 13. What did I go to jail for? Assault.
Okay.
Assault. Me and one of my homeboys jumped on a gay dude walking through our park. And back during that time in South Central LA, in a predominantly black neighborhood, it was hard to be gay.
Yeah.
And so, when we seen them, we attacked them.
That's real. That's raw. Give it raw and uncut, man. Were you around when like the LA riots and stuff was going on?
I was in jail for the 92 riots. I was only 1 year old in the 65 riots. I was born in 64.
Okay.
So in the 65 riots, Watts riots, I was only one. I was in a prison called Pelican Bay.
Okay.
In 92 when that riot kicked off.
What was your perspective on those riots during that time period? Given you're coming from LA.
I believe both of them were warranted. You know what I'm saying? Both of them was warranted. Okay, look, you can't make an omelet without breaking no eggs. Mm-hmm. And you know what I'm saying? No disrespect to you, but
no, you're good.
When you're dealing with white people, they don't understand nothing but violence. They don't care. They gonna do whatever they want to do to us.
Yeah.
And we can grab these posters and these flags and walk around with this stop no justice, no peace, Black Lives Matter, quit, please don't. People don't care about that. They could care less about that. The only thing they're gonna respect is when you start tearing they stuff up, when you start kicking them in they behinds. Oh, they listen in. You got their attention in.
Yeah.
But as long as you tearing stuff up in your own neighborhood or you just kicking your own people in the behind, they could care less about you marching and having these rallies. So what?
Right.
This just not gonna do nothing to them. But when you show them that, okay, look, we gonna turn the violence upon you, that's when they like, hold on, wait a minute, let's talk about this. Don't come over here tearing our stuff up now. We need to talk.
Right. Okay. How do you feel like race relations has gotten better since those days?
Yeah.
You know? Okay.
I do. I really do. I really, really, really do. Like in South Central LA, they gentrifying a lot of South Central LA. Whereas the whites, as they had to call that mass exodus, white flight, and moved out South Central and start moving up into the hills and out to the beach and all that.
Right.
Now they're coming back because of Mother Nature. Mother Nature kicking them in their behind, flooding them out up in the hills, California hills, and burning them out. And they like, wait a minute, hold on, we ain't got no place to live no more. We got to go back and get what we left. And so what they doing, that's what come. The laws are so harsh in California now. What I did back in the 1980s and got 2 years for, you could do the same thing now and get 80 years for. So, in so many ways, okay, we raising the rent to where we know you can't pay it no more. You leaving, you moving back south, you moving to Vegas, you moving to Lancaster, you moving to Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, y'all leaving. Or we lock you up for 1,000 years and got to worry about you no more anyway. So now we're going to get this stuff. We're going to get this neighborhood back. We're going to gentrify it. We're going to rebuild it and make it look pretty. And we're going to move back into it. And that's what they're doing.
Getting back into your story a little bit more. You went to jail for the first time around 12. How long was that for? And then
I got out. I did a couple of days and got out.
Okay, so
stayed out 2 weeks and went right back.
Quick experience. Did you learn anything from that first one? You were like, this is...
I learned that it didn't bother me.
Fair enough. Okay.
I learned that it didn't bother me. Some people, I became institutionalized from day one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's harsh to say, but I call a ball, strike to strike. It is what it is. And that's what it was. When I went to jail, it didn't bother me. It was like, hey, all these other people in here from different gangs and different places in LA. I'm like, shoot, man, I'm meeting new friends and just having a ball, So when you talk about you're going back, my mom would tell me, you're going back. So
that's real.
It make me no difference.
How would you define institutionalized to the people?
Basically, when you get to the point to where doing time does not bother you, you don't care about going back. You know what I'm saying? And that's just institutionalized.
Okay.
You can go back and just fit in and just have a ball.
That's real. Okay. I mean, did you ever consider like any career paths that you wanted to do? I know obviously you're on YouTube and stuff like that now, but like back in the day, were you considering anything else or were you just strictly in the streets?
In the streets. Only thing mattered to me was Avalon Crip. I didn't care about nothing else. And that's that.
That's real.
That's it.
And then you ended up moving from LA to Alabama when you went to prison again, right?
No, I went got out of prison and went to Alabama to rob a jewelry store.
Okay.
And got caught. And did 23 years in Alabama. When I got out, I just went on state in Alabama.
What made you like choose Alabama and go like across the U.S.? Because that's a far distance from LA.
Yeah, I didn't choose it. The people that I was robbing with chose it. California got a 3-strike law. So everybody on the crew had been to prison 2 or more times. At that time, I'd been to prison 5 times. And so the thing was, we don't want to get caught in California because we all going to get life and never come home. So what we did, we would just go to other states and rob jewelry stores, different places. Cause we like, okay, at least if we get caught in another state, we got action at coming home again, like me.
Right. Okay. So did you end up getting caught in Alabama or?
I did 23 years.
Yeah. I seen on like Reddit, there's some photos of you look as big as fuck, look as swole as hell.
Okay.
How it all happened and like from your perspective, all that.
When we went, it went bad. It was all bad from day one. It took us 3 different times to even make it there. So that was a warning sign right then. Don't go. But one of my baby mamas was pregnant, and I had to make sure. I had money because I'd been doing other stuff, but I wanted to get more money to make sure she was gonna be okay. So I was telling, I'd been telling her, but look, I'm finna go hit this last lick, and Alabama, when I come back, I'm gonna break you off because my wife at the time, she wanted to move away from LA because she figured I was gonna go back to prison or I was gonna get killed because of the way I was gang banging. So we decided we was gonna move to Vegas. And when we went to Alabama, never made it back because the jewelry store we were supposed to hit, we couldn't find it. So I got mad and said, man, look, find any jewelry store. We finna hit any jewelry store. It don't make me no difference. And that's what we did. And it messed up. We went into an area in Alabama that was real high class.
Oh, okay.
Real uppity. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Real, you know what I'm saying? The cheapest house is $1 million.
And you're in the South too.
In the South. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So we were standing out and no blacks lived in this area, period. If they was over there because they was the trash man. And we weren't the trash man. And we stood out like a sore thumb and didn't realize it. And when we jumped out the car and ran in the jewelry store, a lady standing across the street seen us and she knew what it was. She hit her alarm, threw the timing off, all that. When we came out of the jewelry store, the police was coming in.
They were right there.
I'm like, oh, well, here I go again.
Damn. So at that moment, were you like pretty depressed knowing you're going to do some good time, or what was it like?
You know what? For the first few hours when I first got caught, I was in a daze, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then after that, it was like old home week, you know what I'm saying? Instinct kicked in. Like I say, I'd been to prison 5 times already.
Right.
So it was like, I knew the drill. Okay, I done got caught. So let me see. Only thing I was wondering, like, dang, how much time are they going to give me out here for this?
Right.
How much time are they going to give me? So when they slapped me with that life sentence, I was like, well, now I know.
So you got life and then it eventually ended up turning to 23 years?
Yeah, it was 15 to life.
Okay.
Just like, you do the 15, then you start going up for parole. So I ended up doing 23 and I finally made parole and got out.
Okay. 23 years, that's a long time. Did you miss a lot of stuff during that time period? Like, how was that? I know you said you were kind of used to it at that point.
Yeah.
Was that your longest sentence too?
That was the longest I did. I had just finished doing 8 years and it only been out 4 months and went back and did the 23.
Damn. So like basically 31 years right there.
No. Yeah. Then the other one's like 2 years, 3 years, a year and a half. You know what I'm saying? All that.
So it just basically kind of
I almost got 40 years racked up.
Damn. And you're how old to this
58.
day? So 40 out of 58 years you spent locked up.
Yeah.
That's crazy. How does thinking back on that, how does that make you feel, and like how do you deal with that? Because that must be a lot of stress.
It don't fade me. Because one thing I'm not finna stress myself out about what's already done.
Right. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I chose my life, I lived my life, I did what I did in my life, I did the time. It's behind me, that's gone.
Right.
Only thing I'm focused on now is what I'm doing from this point on.
That's real.
You know what I'm saying? So
okay. How long have you been out now?
5 years.
Okay. So what's been like the shift or change for your life since then?
What helped me a lot is me not coming back to LA.
Okay. Yeah.
With me staying so far out, it's different environment, different whole hookup. You know what I'm saying? I'm quite sure if I would have got paroled and went back to California, I'd probably be dead or back in prison right now.
That's real.
But my mom's, when I got out, she was on her deathbed and her last dying wish was asking me, don't come back to California, don't come back to LA. Now I ain't gonna say California, but we say LA. She said, "Don't, baby, please give yourself a chance, don't come back to LA." And I said, okay, mama. So I didn't come back. But it's worked out well for me. You know what I'm saying? It worked out real well.
So do you think if your mom didn't say that, you would have went back to LA? So it was like a love-hate relationship with LA in a way.
Well, for her,
Right.
it was all love with me because I love LA. I wanted to get back to my set. You know what I'm saying?
Fair enough. Okay. So the Avalon set, how did that all originate in LA? And did this originate around the same time like the other Crip sets in LA?
Well, Avalon is one of the oldest sets in LA.
Okay.
First it was East Side Crips, then sets started branching off, get names. About, late 71, early 72, we became Avalon Crip.
Okay. And what was would you say Avalon kind of started the same way the other ones did as far as just being similar to the Black Panther Party in a way, or was it like a branch off?
It was just a branch off from the East Side Crips. The whole East Side was just East Side Crips. Then as time went on, you had certain individuals in certain areas say, well, look, we want to be this. Well, we want to be that.
Right.
After the first person decided, well, look, we're going to give ourselves a name, and they did it, you know how they go. Oh man, they call themselves this. Oh, we gonna call ourselves that. Oh, well, shoot, if they call themselves that, well, we gonna call ourselves this. And that's how it happened.
Was it like a street name out there, Avalon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Avalon is a street that goes all the way through LA.
Okay. Have you ever seen someone die?
I've seen a whole bunch of people die.
Yeah.
That gang world, you know what I'm saying? They die in your arms, you know?
Right.
You might be standing on the corner 8, 9 deep, and your enemies come through busting. And you hit the ground when you get up. You know what I'm saying? You might be 9 of y'all standing there, but when you hit the ground, only 8 of y'all get up. And you're looking around to see who hurt. And there go your homeboy, you know what I'm saying, with blood running out his head.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying? You cradles your homie in your arm like, dang, cuz, don't die. What's up, homie? This is somebody, y'all peed on each other. Y'all come up from the cradle together. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
His mama whoop you, your mama whoop him, that y'all were so close. It's your family, you know what I'm saying? Back in the day, gang banging in LA, it wasn't what it was now. It was a family, you know what I'm saying? It was you embraced it. It was a family, you know what I'm saying? People don't understand that. The people you standing around with, you got their trust, they got your trust. You love them, they love you. They mama love you, and your mama love them. These are your brother.
Right.
So now here it is, you got your homeboy laying on the ground with a hole in his head. And people wonder why I go on and on and on. Man, you killed my brother.
Right.
You think I'm not coming back to kill yours?
That's real.
Straight up. It don't stop. It don't stop. Here it is 50 some years later, and it's still going on. You kill my dog, I'm going to kill your cat. Simple as that.
How do you feel like people have gotten desensitized nowadays?
Very. Death don't mean nothing in LA no more.
Yeah.
What it mean? Because it didn't mean nothing to me. When I was coming up, your life meant nothing to me, period. If you wasn't Fire Trey Avalon, it didn't make me no difference. When I came through, it wasn't nothing but death and destruction. Beef with my set. Don't get along with my set.
Yeah.
Man, listen, I'm making it my business. When the street lights come on, don't be outside. 8 to 80, blind, crippling, crazy. You finna get it. You finna get it, homie. Straight up. This Avalon Gangster Crip, and that's it. And the only way you gonna win wars, the way we count them, is burials. We count who win a war by death. If I send you to more funerals than you send me to, then we won.
Okay, that's real. Do you feel like what was like the initial bloodshed, I guess, like that led into, because like when you brought up, here we are 50 years later, you know what I'm saying? It makes me wonder like how it all originated and started.
I mean, well, like I say, it all originated from it. Okay, it was gangs in LA before Crips and Bloods. You know what I'm saying? It was already gangs. Like Avalon. Okay, my set, we descend from a gang called the Businessmen's. You had businessmen.
So is this more like mafia type?
No, just gangs. They were gangs.
Okay.
It just wasn't Crips and Bloods. You had the businessmen, the gladiators, the chain gangs, the Slawsons, Pygmies, Devil's Children. You had all type of gangs.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But when Crips and Bloods came out, those gangs left. And it wasn't number just Crips and Bloods left.
What were the differences between like the Crips and the Bloods and those other gangs that you brought up beforehand? Because I honestly, all I ever heard was it started with the Crips and Bloods. I didn't know. And then when you go down to the Midwest and stuff, you got the GDs, BDs, all that. I didn't know like there was even gangs before that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like the gangs that came before Crips and Bloods, they've been around since the 1940s.
Damn.
Yeah, they was there first. My whole neighborhood was a gang called the Businessmen. As time went on, like I say, when Crips came out, the youngsters weren't becoming businessmen. So eventually, if you don't have recruitment, whatever you about eventually dies out. Everybody was coming up becoming Avalon Crip. So now the Avalon Crips rise, the businessmen's die out. And I mean, that's how it was. I mean, the gangbanging, gangbanging was gangbanging. We've been gangbanging since Africa. A lot of people don't realize that.
That's real.
Tribe against tribe. It's been going on. It ain't no new concept that just popped up in the United States. People been gangbanging since the beginning of time, for real.
That's real. Okay.
It comes up under the heading of war.
Which goes into like, country versus country. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's real. Now, why do you think like Crips and Bloods get the recognition of like being the original gangs, and not necessarily these other gangs that you're
because
talking
the
about?
other gangs weren't sensationalized the way Crips and Bloods were. They
Okay.
weren't as popular as Crips and Bloods. The other gangs didn't do the destruction that Crips and Bloods did. You know, when Crips and Bloods came about, it was deaths. You know what I'm saying? The other gangs, it was about fighting. You know what I'm saying? A bat, a crowbar, or whatever. You know, deaths here and there,
Right.
but not like it was. The level of violence was not as strong as it was when Crips and Bloods came about. So now when you start killing, you, like I say, you get the media attention.
Right.
Now the media,
It's all people pay attention to is the negative.
now the media is focused on us.
Oh, that's real. So I seen you brought up Crip Mack and Jap 5 in a video going at it in jail. I was wondering if that could be settled.
Oh, they settled it. They
Oh,
fought.
they did? Okay, fair enough, right
Yeah,
there.
they fought. Jeff Fire, that's my stepson. A lot of people know it. Some people don't know, but yeah, that's my stepson. I'm married to his mama.
Okay.
Yeah, they eventually bumped into each other in the county jail, and they got out. Jap whooped him. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
A lot of people try to key in on, oh, well, he whooped him, but you know, in LA, it's not about who won and who lost. It's about, do you got the heart to get down? Because you can't whoop, you can't win every fight. You can't.
Right.
It's about do you still got the heart to fight? So both of them got the heart to fight.
Okay, that's real. Oh yeah, I seen you tap in with Gunners Collective, talk about Black and Brown unity. How do you feel about Black and Brown relations to this day, and do you want to see more coming together?
You know, that's a touchy subject. That's of course, now you already know I'm pro-Black. I'm for my people. Everybody's for their people. Because you're for your people don't mean you don't like another race of people. It's just that you're for your people. The same thing with the Hispanics. They are for their people.
Right.
The race relations, to me, they're getting better than what they were 10 years ago, because at one time they deteriorated real bad. I mean, you was having fights in schools. Let me show you something. Coming up, LA, South Central LA was predominantly Black. You had Hispanics there, but not like they do now. So now, as time went on, you know, Blacks was kicking them in their behind, robbing them, doing whatever they wanted to do to them, because the numbers was real low. As time went on, their numbers got up. When their numbers got up, they reversed the roles to the point to where I wouldn't say they kicking Blacks in they behind now, but they are doing a lot of damage, a lot of deaths, a lot of fighting. The gang thing, you got a lot of Hispanic gangs that hate Blacks. You know what I'm saying? Whereas Blacks don't really just go out specifically and hate on Hispanics. They're not used to it.
Yeah.
Then it's not their thing. But the Hispanic gangs, they hate Blacks. You know what I'm saying? They write NIGGA killer on the wall and all this so crazy stuff. Even in the prison system, I seen it changing. You know what I'm saying? Hispanics, they are the dominant factor in California prison now. You know what I'm saying? They are the dominant factor, hands down. It went through, like I say, it went through a bad change, but now it's to the point to where Blacks and Hispanics have been around each other so long now that they rock it hand in hand. Every Black gang in LA got Mexicans from it now.
Right.
Because they're there.
You see it out here too, a lot of
yeah. And I mean, look, because of the rap scene, the music scene, whereas the old school Mexicans with the pants up to here, bald heads, cholos with the glasses on and the big goatees, and listen to the East Side Story oldies, that style of Mexican is playing out. You know what I'm saying? The Mexicans now, they wear their little bitty shirt, they wear their skinny jeans, them big old tennis shoes, the hats, you know what I'm saying? They rap with the Blacks, they rap like they doing everything. They dress like the Blacks, they look like, they act like the Blacks. The only difference is the skin color. But other than that, they assimilate. And so, like I say, almost every, whether you Crip or whether you Blood gang in LA, you got a lot of Mexicans from your gang now. And they get to the point to where the old school Mexicans, the Mexicans now coming up, they telling them, hey, look, man, we ain't with that. You know what I'm saying? We get along with these dudes. We kick it with these dudes. We rock with these dudes. We run the streets with them. We grow up with them hand in hand. Whereas y'all didn't grow up with them, but we do.
Right.
So, race relations are getting better. They getting better.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, you see that even out here in Denver, a lot of people from different races working together and stuff like that. I also wanted to ask, I know this is kind of an old topic, but what was your opinion on the whole, we'll say the Tiger situation and the Swifty Blue when he went on the bootleg Kev?
Had a problem with it. Had a real problem with it. My issue was mainly with this dude, American Cholo.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't pull no punches, and I ain't gonna never pull no punches. That's what made me and Gunner talk, and that's what made me have a lot of comments on that, because I went in on that one. They call themselves rallying together and circling the wagon. Then take the video down and whoop whoop wop wop whoop whoop wop. Was the video stupid to me? Yeah, you know what I'm saying. It was stupid. It was. I mean, it was dumb. But they got Hispanic videos out clowning black people too. You know what I'm saying? And we'll talk about that part.
Yeah.
So now Tiger did it, and they all up in the bunch. Oh. So now when he took it down, what me and Gunner's issue was, I felt like he was clowning. He like a little clowning he did about it. Okay, the homie, well, he ain't my homie because I don't know him, but he took it down. Leave it at that. Don't force the issue. That's the type of stuff that, like in prison, kick off riots. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You want to have a little bit too much more to say about it. You know what I'm saying? He apologized. It's hard for a man to apologize. He apologized. Boom. But now here it is. You got this clown, American Cholo, come right behind him with all type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? But that's supposed to be okay. Oh man, go ahead on somewhere, man. Go ahead on somewhere. I try not to go all the way into it because it's kind of water under the bridge. Right. But like you got some good Hispanic podcasts. I mean YouTubers. I like Gunner. I like Dubs. I like Rojo. I like Flacco. Them some of the ones I know about that I like. You got some more, but I don't really listen to them. Those are the ones I look at. But the only one, the American Cholo cat, don't like him, don't respect him. There's nothing about him that I agree with. Nothing, period.
Do you think y'all could like do a talk maybe on YouTube and come together on some?
Yeah, I would debate him. It probably would be no talk. It would be a debate with me. You know what I'm saying? I would hit him with some pertinent questions that I would like answered. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I would do it. Yeah, I would really do it.
Okay. That's real. Did you see the Swifty Blue when he went on bootleg Kev?
You know what? I never chimed in on that situation. I looked at it a little bit, but the big thing with his thing is he was saying he didn't want Mexican rappers to sign with black labels. That's your prerogative, homie. You know what I'm saying? If you don't want, cool. I mean, if you don't sign with a black label, you're not gonna get nowhere in the rap industry. So you know what I'm saying? You can cut your nose off to spite your face. That's on you. But now if you so choose to go about your way and have a nice day, if that's the case, stop rapping. You know what I'm saying? If you want to be autonomous, stop rapping our music. Stop doing what we do. Stop dressing like us. Stop acting like us. Stop talking like us. Stop trying to walk like us. You know what I'm saying? Go sing salsa.
Right. Okay, so you didn't really take that as disrespect compared to the other situation, but it was more like
I didn't pay no attention.
It didn't really make so much sense to you.
If you don't want to sign to a black label, don't. I don't care. I mean, that's on you. Now his thing was totally different from American Cholo.
Okay, that's fair.
Totally different.
What's going on with you and Dewberry?
Oh, he's a real clown. He's a clown. He's a sycophant, a do boy for Charleston White.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's his do boy. He's a type where when they travel, he carries the suitcases, carry the cameras. If Charleston want to use the bathroom, he hold his weenie for him. And it just I just don't like him.
Yeah,
I don't like him. He had did some things, and I told him I wanted to fight him. and he come up with all these excuses and ran around the mulberry bush and did all this other weird stuff. But that was last year. One of my New Year's resolutions, I was like, okay, you know what? He done tucked his tail and got out of there. So I left Dewberry alone. The only issue I have now, you got this one fake dude on YouTube that called himself Crip Mac Daddy. He fake. He's not. Some little buster out of Gary, Indiana.
So it's not, you're not talking about the actual Crip Mac. This is another.
No, I'm talking about Crip Mac, but this is not his father for real.
Oh,
this is a dude that's clout chasing and said he was was trying to say he was his father because they do look alike.
Oh, I think I seen that video.
Yeah, on want to get some recognition from that. But he didn't. I was saying something about another situation that when the dude PNB Rock got killed in LA.
Yeah.
About his gold, and you had another dude out of Chicago get on there trying to talk about LA, y'all goofy, y'all this and that. Now let me show you one thing that if you want me to jump out my skin is if you attack the West Coast. You attack LA, Cali like that. Okay, you're gonna get my attention because I'm coming to the rescue. I'm just gonna speak up, and that's what I did. So now here come this clown, the fake Crip Mac Daddy, talk about what he'd do to me. Talk about he want to break my face, burn my blue rag up, and this and that, and this and that. I'm like, all right, coward, I'll beat you up. I didn't pay no attention to him last year, but I done got everybody else out the way. So now I figured I'd go dig in the toilet and, pick him up like the little piece of doo-doo he is. Yeah. And now I'm gonna play with him. So I had the same people, the 11 on 11 people that set up the celebrity boxing matches and all that. I had them get at him the other day, and he come up with every excuse in the book why not to fight.
That's real. Okay. Since you brought up the West Coast stuff a little bit, I kind of wanted to get into that. What was your opinion on the whole, Biggie and Tupac back and forth back in the day in the 90s? I mean, did you have an opinion on that? Were you locked up at that time? I was on the street when Tupac got killed. Okay.
Yeah.
Like when the East and West Coast, Bad Boy versus Death Row, all that stuff.
I had a thing about it. Yeah, I couldn't. I'm man, homie. Look, let me show you. I'm West Coast to the wheels fall off. The wheels fall off. You know what I'm saying? No other place. No, I'm just me. And when that was real, when the Biggie and Tupac thing was going on, I was like, yeah, bump them fools. Bump them. Yeah, come out here if you want to, knock your head off. Because it was like that in LA. East Coast rappers couldn't even get their tape sold. They weren't even up front. Like if you go into a record store and you ask for like East Coast rappers tape, the people would look at you like, man, for what? Then if you really wanted it, they'd have to go in the back and get it. There wasn't nobody selling their tapes. Wasn't nobody listen to their music. It wasn't none of that. You feel what I'm saying? And they felt the same way out there,
Yeah.
So, it was that thing. Everybody was into it.
Right. Okay.
East versus West.
And real quick question too for all my Denver folks. What do you consider Denver or Colorado? Is it Denver Midwest? It's West Coast?
Yeah,
okay.
It's the West Coast.
Yeah. I hear that some people say we're the Midwest, some people say we're the West Coast. So I'm like, I want to hear your opinion.
No, the Midwest is Detroit, Chicago, stuff like that.
Right. Okay.
No, Denver is on the West Coast.
Okay.
To us, the West Coast consists of California, Denver, Utah, Seattle, Oregon. Oh, that's the West Coast.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the West Coast.
Okay, that's real. What's like the difference between neighborhoods and rollings, if I'm pronouncing that right?
Well, no, the difference is between the gangsters and the in-hoods, the neighborhoods.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, rollings and the neighborhoods pretty much the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, the split is you have the gangster car and you have the in-hood car, the neighborhood car. That's the difference. Don't get along. It's just I don't know. I'm trying to be how much specific I can be with it.
Where'd like the names come from, like the gangster Crips versus
Well, all the sets that got gangster Crip in their name, they gonna come up under the gangster car. All the sets that got neighborhood Crip, they gonna come up under the neighborhood car, and all the neighborhood cars get along. I mean, all the different sets in the neighborhood car, they get along. The gangster car is dysfunctional. It's super dysfunctional. For instance, like Avalon's. We in the gangster car, but we don't get along with a big chunk of the sets that are in the neighborhood. I mean, that are in the gangster car.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? We don't get along with 8-7 gangsters. We don't get along with 9-7 gangsters. We don't get along with 4 trades. We don't get along with 4 deuces. We don't get along with 4 eights. All 5 of them sets are in the gangster car, but Avalon don't rock with them, period. You know what I'm saying? Most of the gangsters say moving. We don't say that. Avalon say swinging. We the swing gang because of our beef with most of the sets within the gangster car.
Okay. Where did like those, I guess, subsets originate from? Like how, like who came up with, okay, we're the neighborhood Crips, and who was like, oh, we're the gangster Crips?
Whoever decided, the name at that time. Them names
Okay.
came about back in the 70s.
So basically pretty similar to how like any gang
Yeah, because see, at once
started.
there was no strife. It
Right.
wasn't no problem with gangsters in neighborhoods. 1979, the 8 gangsters in the 60s went to war. And that pretty much was the beginning of the end of what Crip was about.
Mm.
1979, the whole foundation and fabric of Crip was pretty much destroyed.
Right.
When that war started, it put a split down the middle that to this day doesn't do anything but get wider and wider and wider. That's where the rift between the neighborhoods come and the gangsters. That's where that tear comes.
Okay. Could you ever see it? I know you say it's getting wider, but could you ever see a peace or reconciliation between cards, or do you just only see that on a set by set basis type thing?
As an overall whole, you can't make a call on that one because each set has its own politics.
Mm.
What the rolling 60s neighborhoods do don't necessarily mean that's what the rolling 40 neighborhoods gonna do. What the rolling 40 neighborhoods gonna do doesn't necessarily mean that's what the 9-0 neighborhoods gonna do.
Yeah.
Or the rolling hundreds. You know what I'm saying? They all come up under the in-hood umbrella, but they all have their different politics.
I also had a personal question as far as like the Hoovers, because I've only done a little bit of research on YouTube and stuff, and it seemed I would get confused because I'd be seeing Hoovers say, low this, that, and third. So I was like, oh, they must be a Crip. But then like I look back in YouTube and I see that they're not.
No, LA got 3 gangs now.
Okay.
You got Crips, Bloods, and criminals. Hoovers are criminals.
Okay.
They don't have an allegiance to Crips or Bloods anymore.
Okay. Were they?
Whoever they want to kick it with, they used to be Crips, but
Okay.
they denounced it. They
Okay.
dropped it in the early 90s. And whoever they want to kick it with, that's what they can kick it with. They wear orange. And so, they might get along. They write BK and CK. They might want to get along with this Crip set or that Crip set or this Crip set. And boom. For instance, like Hoovers and Avalon get along. It's just hit or miss. It's hit or miss.
Okay. What was Nipsey Hussle's impact on LA?
I don't know.
Fair enough.
I mean, I never really knew anything about his music, until I got out of prison.
Yeah.
And I don't really know about. Like I say, when he came about, I was going to prison.
Mm.
And as far as him, what all he was doing for the streets of LA, I don't know because he ain't never did nothing for 53rd Street. You know what I'm saying? Whatever he was building and making and developing, he built and made and developed that over in the 60 hood. He didn't build, make, or develop anything in 53rd Street hood. So, my homies don't know nothing about him. For real like that. They knew he was a rapper. They knew he was out of LA. But as far as, him doing this great stuff, he ain't did nothing for the East Side that I know of.
Okay, that's real. And then how do you feel about Crips and Bloods working together in the music industry? I know we kind of touched on that earlier.
I understand it now.
Yeah.
I didn't really, during my time coming up, it wasn't like that. You know what I'm saying? But to be honest with you, as time went on, Bloods kind of took over the music industry in LA. So now it put Crips in a position where either, hey, look, y'all gonna be cool with these cats if you wanna get on, or just get left out. And so that's where the relationship that they have now start coming about. They kind of cool with each other. Like I say, Crips and Bloods in this day and age get along way better now than what they did back in the day. Back when I was coming up, it was on sight. You point blank in front of the police or not. They're gonna one get him. Whereas now it's not like that. It's not like that at all. They pretty much get along. Dudes have their own personal beefs, and sets have their own personal beefs with that set.
Okay. No, that's real. Did you ever consider rapping?
Oh no, man,
No,
no, heck no.
never your thing.
Forget about no rapping.
No.
I ain't never been no rapper. I've always been a scrapper.
Okay, fair enough. How'd you end up getting into YouTube?
That Dewberry situation.
Okay.
You know, I would watch YouTube all the time.
Yeah.
But now I watched the situation that happened on YouTube with him, Mob James and Charleston White at an interview,
Mm.
and he got on there a couple days later and said something I didn't like. And
Like about you specifically, or just
no, about the situation. I was just
okay?
watching it. And so I didn't like it. I was trying to voice my opinion on it. So I started making, tried to make videos of it, but I never knew anything about YouTube. Didn't know how to put nothing up. And so I had to go through my homeboy, Vonnie Loke.
Mm.
I'm like, cuz if I make a video, can you put it on this dude page and blah, 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 blah. He's like, yeah. So what I started doing, I start making videos to this dude. Like, hey man, I don't like what you said. I don't like what you did, blah, blah, blah. And I would give it to Vonnie and he would post it. And
Okay.
so but now what had happened was I was giving him videos and he wasn't posting them fast enough for me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, well, dang, I gotta figure this out so I can post these videos quicker. So my homeboy Chaos, I got him, my homeboy Chaos and his wife. They like, look, why don't you just make your own YouTube page? I'm like, man, I don't know nothing about no YouTube, man. I don't know. They're like, look, if you
Right.
make your own YouTube page, you can do this and that. We'll make it for you. And so they made it, and I just started doing it, and it went from there. It just next thing I know, it just getting bigger and got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And here it is. I'm a YouTuber. For those who want to
Oh,
know,
yeah.
y'all know Cartoon53, man, leader of the Foundation Nation. Y'all get at me.
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask too. You becoming a YouTuber and being a street dude, do you see a lot of flack from that? And what do you say to the critics?
Okay, like I was saying, you got YouTube politics and you got street politics.
Mm.
I don't really consider myself in the streets like that anymore. Like I say, I live way in Alabama.
Mm.
So I can't really say I'm in the streets like that. You know what I'm saying? For me to
Right.
be in the streets like that, I'd have to be in South Central LA on the front line.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And getting it up with my homies. So
That's all in the past, basically.
yes, kind of in the past. You got to be mindful of what you say, how you say it, and when you say it. Some stuff you can talk about, some stuff you can't.
Right.
But as far as me being a YouTuber, like my homeboys support me. Some dudes' homeboys don't support them. Some dudes' homeboys hate on them and like, you know what I'm saying? It'd be jealousy because, they got a homie that's coming up in the YouTube world and they want to and they can't. But
Right.
I've had nothing but good stuff for me. But I also watch what I say.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna put none of my homeboys on YouTube in a bad position to where they got us like, dang, Toon, man, what you doing? You know what I'm saying? None of that. So like I say, I understand the assignment.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay. How come you don't cuss?
Oh man, shoot, man. I believe I don't need to.
Mm.
Once you elevate to a certain point of intelligence, I figure I get my point across without using no caveman words. But
Okay.
what initially started it when I started going to prison in California, back when I first started going to prison, the N word, when you come through the door, they hey, look, homie, we gonna get rid of that. And once you get rid of that, they will start working on that bitch word. And a lot of people say, well, why you couldn't say B? Okay, because 9 times out of 10, if you use the B word, you're directing it toward a black woman. Like I say, what I'm saying, prison teach you how to be pro-black.
Mm.
It teach you how not to talk about your sisters like that. So once I stopped using the N word and start using the B word, I'm like, shit, I might as well stop cussing, period. I don't need it. And so what I did, I ain't gonna lie, one day I asked God, I say, God, look, I don't want to cuss no more. Take it away. And within 3 days, I stopped cussing. And that over 30 years ago.
That's real. I respect that. That's unique. You don't really hear that. How did you end up coming home from a life sentence?
I made parole. After I did the 15, I started going on parole. I missed it. A couple of years later, I go for parole again. I miss it. I went up for parole 5 times before I made it.
Mm.
So I made it on the 5th time.
What's the process of going up for parole?
In Alabama?
Yeah.
Just going up, like say like if they give you parole, like after you say like they give you 15 to life. Once your 15 is done, you'll get a parole date from the parole board.
Mm.
You'll get a letter in the mail saying, okay, you go up on parole on such and such date at such and such time. You don't go, and like California do, you don't go, but if you got family or friends, they can go to your parole hearing and speak up for you. The parole board is gonna look at your file, look at what you've been doing, look at what you got going on, and they gonna say yay or nay. 9 times out of 10, they're going to say nay.
Okay. That makes sense. I know we kind of spoke on it, but I'm going to ask it again. What is your message for the youth who may be influenced by gang culture?
I'm going to tell them right now, like I've been telling them
Yeah.
on my podcast. Listen, a lot of them going to look at it like, well, you a Crip. No, you a Crip. Like, yes, I am. Like I said, I chose my path back in the 1970s. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they talk about, do you got any regrets? 1 or 2. I don't want to speak on them, but 1 or 2. Would I advise for them to do it nowadays? No, because it's not what it used to be. You know what I'm saying? There's no unity in it. The love is not there no more. The family camaraderie is not there no more. You doing it now, either you're doing it out of peer pressure, you just doing it because you want to play follow the leader. But it's so much other stuff you can do. Much other stuff you can do.
Okay. What happened with the 4 trays?
Well, at one time we were both Avalons.
Okay.
You had 4 Travelon, you had 5 Travelon. They went to war with the Broadways, and they would come in our hood, and we didn't help them. The Broadways would jump on them because back when this happened back in '79 too. The Broadways were stronger than them and would kick them off in their behind when they would come down to our park to kick with us. And we didn't help them. We didn't have nothing to do with it, So eventually they said, well, look, if y'all not going to be down with us, y'all not going to help us, why are we still claiming Avalon? So they dropped that part and just became what they are now. And eventually, as time went on, they started getting stronger and was able to stand on their own 2 feet by themselves. And, little friction and fraction between us and them start happening to the point to where, eventually it's going to come into gunplay and start a war. And that's what happened about 1993. And we ain't looked back since.
Okay.
It goes on still to this day.
How did you hear about Maha Minute?
Through my homeboy, Vonnie Lowe.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Where can the people, you got any final thoughts, any shout outs, last minute things you want to speak on?
I don't know. Homie, we pretty much covered it all. Like I say, if people like, you got a lot of people out there want to know about like what goes on in prison or what goes on in the life of a gangbanger when he was young coming up.
Yeah.
Those are the type of things I talk about on my channel. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people, well, how do we get to his channel? My channel is, like I say, Cartoon53. Run it in together and you'll see me. Other than that, it's just another day, homie. It is what it is.
So just YouTube, you got Instagram, Twitter, anything like that?
I got Instagram, which is da.ova.lord, the Overlord.
Okay. Yeah, make sure y'all go follow Cartoon53 on everything Instagram. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel. Links will be in the description of this video. Can I get a shout out for Mile High Minute one time?
Yeah, Foundation Nation. Y'all rock with me. Y'all gonna rock with me. Y'all always rock with me. Listen, go to the Mile High Minute and check it out. Check it out. My partner got a good podcast. Every chance you get, go over there and check it out, man.
Salute. I appreciate that, man. Make sure y'all go follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all that. Links be in the description. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Comment down below who you want to see next in the Mile High Minute. Hit that subscribe button. Matter of fact, let us know your favorite Cartoon53 story in the comments below. And hit that subscribe button, hit that bell button to stay notified when all the latest news drops. Shout out to sponsor today's video, 3AM Water. Go get that hydration for the go-getters. And that's it, man. Mile High Minute, #1 podcast in the universe. We out.